So today I was browsing some subreddits of this activity that I participated a lot in the past, and I was saddened by how I don't participate in these activities anymore because, like moving to a new city, you kind of leave a lot of your friends behind you, right? And so I don't have the same social infrastructure to participate in these activities anymore. As a result, a lot of activities I do now are fairly self-guided and don't require other people to do. But I'm not sure if that brings me the same satisfaction that these social activities I did in the past brought me. The thing with having happier memories in the past is that it makes the lack of additional memories seem a little inadequate almost. When you don't experience happiness and then you do experience happiness, it seems that the happiness is infinite and it envelops every fiber of your being. But then after you experience happiness and go into a period of sadness, it seems that it's worse than not experiencing happiness in the first place because there's this point of comparison you have to where you were in the past, and it just makes the present seem all the more inadequate. Sometimes I wonder about my desire to continuously form intimate connections because I often think that my feelings of loneliness are almost self-caused because if I didn't feel the need to continuously make friends, then all of these feelings of inadequacy, they would seem unnecessary almost. I think lately I've been feeling especially detached from this world because I've just been residing in my apartment for a very long time because I got COVID and I had to quarantine, right? So I haven't left my apartment for a really long time. And right now is also the winter holidays, so a lot of people are back home, and so it's harder to reach out to people. All of these plans that we have are for January, but I don't even know if I'm going back to the office in January, so it's the never-ending process of pushing back things more and more, and at a certain point I think that you kind of lose the sense that you have people in your life if you just keep pushing back social interaction more and more. And it also begs the question of how do you meet people in a new city altogether? You have your friends that you inherited from your past, you have your coworkers, and then after that, the infrastructure of making new friends depends on your existing network. And the big question is, how do you just expand your existing network when you don't really have a big one to begin with? I think the thing about adult life is that it's so boring compared to adolescence. when I reflect on some parts of my past, there's this sort of magical quality about it almost. Not necessarily in just the happy moments, but the happy moments were just so incredibly intense. But even like the sad moments, there was something seemingly like mythical about it. Everything was sparkling and everything was poetic. And now the poetry is just gone, you know? Like, there's so little that's poetic in routine. Like, you go to work, and then you go back, you work out for an hour or two. You maybe cook dinner, engage in some of your other hobbies, and then you go to sleep and repeat the cycle all over again. And sure, you have the weekends, and you can do stuff on the weekends, but if you don't do stuff on the weekends, then the routine really becomes a little soul-crushing, honestly. Like right now, what I think I lack isn't so much breaking the routine, because that doesn't matter too much to me. I don't think it's the routine that's inherently causing me unhappiness. It's just the fact that there's so little to look forward to. Like when you're in high school, when you're in college, there's so much novelty in every moment. All these emotions were so intense. When you're like in a relationship, everything was just so happy. When you're not in a relationship, everything was just so sad. But I've noticed in adult life that everything kind of evens out almost. I haven't been intensely sad for a really long time. I was intensely happy for a little bit this summer, but at the end of the day, just the intense quality of life is just slipping away, and it's becoming harder and harder to like even feel anything, because so much of life is just the same and there's so little to look forward to at this point. For a time, I really tried to address this lack of excitement through materialism, because like when you don't have that much money growing up and all of a sudden you start making money, you do experience some intense emotions from making purchases, because it's new, right? But after a while, that dies down. The excitement you get from making purchases dies down. And in addition to that, I've tried a lot of hobbies, because I have money now and I'm able to like make the purchases necessary to pursue these hobbies. And that was really fun for a period of time too, because it also fulfills this childhood longing for things that I wasn't able to do when I was a kid. But even that gets old. And I realized the one source of sustainable happiness is the quality of your relationships, and continuously making new friends, expanding on existing friendships. That never gets old. Although I would say like maybe some existing friendships have a lack of novelty to them that could be perceived as boring. But at the end of the day, I think a combination of growing friendship as well as making new friends is able to touch upon both of these dimensions of what we need in life. And it's kind of hard to achieve that